G'day, I'm AJ, and thanks for downloading my free LinkedIn guide for government leaders and people wanting to boost their career and move ahead in moving into more senior leadership positions or just landing a promotion or getting noticed. Now, I spent the beginning of my career, the first 15 years of my career in the government. And since then, I've spent the last 10 years or more than a decade working with government leaders, supporting them with their leadership development, consulting into lots of government agencies Australia-wide, and supporting them to develop their people so that they become magnetic cultures that people love working for and that they don't want to leave. I know that developing your career, building a position for your career, and starting to own your worth can be really challenging. And I've experienced that whole concept of imposter syndrome as well. And that'll be a whole other video on imposter syndrome. But I know what it's like. You see other new people coming up through the ranks and moving ahead quicker than you, and you think, what am I doing wrong? How could I position myself a little bit differently? Or what are some of the ways that I could share what I do and do well, what I'm passionate about, but without it coming across as salesy or a bit icky, right? We don't want to seem pushy. We don't want to seem like we're too up ourselves. We want to just present ourselves in a professional manner that really showcases what we've got to offer, but also starts to position us for some of those more senior positions that we know we have the skills for, but maybe we haven't really put ourselves out there before. LinkedIn is such a great channel to do this. And so I'm going to share with you the presentation from the report. So you can either watch this here as a video if you're a bit more of a visual person and you prefer to listen and watch. Or if you're someone who likes to read, then you can download the actual printed report and just go through this in your own timing. But for those of you I know that are more auditory, more visual, and you like to actually have someone share it with you, or you want to be listening to it while you're driving somewhere or while you're cooking the dinner, that's fine. I've got you covered. So let's look at how to update your LinkedIn profile. And this is kind of tailored specifically to government leaders who are looking for a new job or promotion. It will work for any leader or anyone in any career, even a business owner who's trying to position themselves and boost their brand and their profile on LinkedIn. But specifically, I'm talking to you government leaders because I see that there is a gap here for you. So you're likely here if you're a government employee or manager and you want to land a new job or get a promotion or a pay rise. And only in the last month, I've been supporting someone through my Manager to Leader Shift program. She had just joined the program, and within a month, she's actually got a pay rise. She's still in the same role, but got upgraded to a new pay grade. And her manager is starting to recognize some of the great work that she's doing. And that's been through some of this subtle changes and little bits of repositioning that we've done here. It's a pay rise that she's asked for 3 years. And she finally got it as a result of doing the work that we're going to talk through here. So maybe you don't want to come across as salesy, spammy, or up yourself. I get it completely. I know exactly where you're coming from. And in this guide, you're going to find some tried and tested strategies that I've used in my own career and positioning myself, but also those, just like I was sharing, that I teach my Manager to Leader Shift clients. This guide only scratches the surface. So there's a lot more truly possible, but I want to just give you some quick actionable elements, things that you can just do straight away so that you can get right into it. And so you can start seeing results, because that's what's going to get you some momentum and it's going to keep you wanting to do more. So I know what it's like in government. I spent my last years in government in a director role. So I know what it's like to read lots of long emails and documents and policy plans and ministerial briefs and a lot of codes of practice and all sorts of things that can start feeling very heavy and dense. So I want to keep this really simple and clean and clear for you. Let's face it, the world has changed. And so the way that we communicate, the way we connect, the way we get promoted even has changed these days. The way we get noticed has changed because we are living in this attention economy. Really, when you think about it, people's phones are grabbing their attention. We're constantly being bombarded with advertising, with swipe right, look at this, click on me. with texts, with notifications. And so we're living in this attention economy. And so how we access opportunities for our career, how we keep connecting as professionals, and how we can do that even in the government sector has changed. This is not just about private business, it's changed for your sector as well. So what we need to do is start thinking about the fact that our LinkedIn profile is one of those tools that gets to showcase the work that we do. And what I find is that most government leaders have completely neglected this channel. Most people that I talk to have not updated their profile for weeks, months, and even years. You would be amazed at how many leaders, or maybe you wouldn't be amazed, how many leaders I talk to and they say, it's been that long, I can't remember my password, so I can't even log in, right? So I can't even log in and go and look at something, or I'm going to have to create a whole new profile because I can't find my login. So that's not uncommon. And we have to think about now in a post-COVID world for lots of government leaders or government workers that are definitely more white-collar workers, then they are having opportunities to work from home and work from anywhere. So there's people all over the state, all over the country that are applying for roles that they never could apply for before because maybe they lived in a regional area or a country town and they couldn't apply for those jobs if they didn't want to move to the big city. Well, guess again, now they can. And so LinkedIn has become one of the ways that you can start showcasing your stuff, even when you're not living in the city or close to where the jobs are. So I get it. You're an experienced professional. You've got your degree behind you. You have worked your way up through the ladders and the rungs. You've earned the respect of your peers. And you're like, oh, I don't want to put my stuff out there online because people are going to think stuff. They're going to think I'm better than them. They're going to think that I think that, right? And the reality is that whilst you're thinking all of that and doubting yourself and not updating your profile and hiding in the curtains and the shadows, the reality is that there are people out there, younger people, less experienced people, people that have come from other countries. It doesn't matter, whatever it is, there are people with less knowledge and less qualifications than you, and they are getting noticed and promoted. Now, I'm all for a diverse and inclusive workforce. I love that there are people from all sorts of backgrounds, all sorts of ages, nationalities, whatever it might be in the workplace. But I know that you're thinking, how did that person get ahead of me? I've been in the department 6 years and they've only been here for a year, right? It's that kind of thing that's going on. And you're wondering, why do I get overlooked? So hands down, one of the best tools is LinkedIn because it's the professional tool. True, recruiters and people still look at things like Facebook and that, but they turn to LinkedIn to check out your background, to see and fact check, is what you're claiming real? Have you been at that role that long? What does that look like? Has anyone recommended you? So it's a powerful personal career brand tool. It is hands down even better than the resume to have this squeaky clean. So why LinkedIn? Well, LinkedIn has certainly surged. I had used it a lot in the past, and then I went off it for a while and didn't use it for a while. But what I found is that for professional circles, LinkedIn has had a huge surge. And so the company itself, LinkedIn, says that it's had a 42% year-over-year increase in the content that's been shared from 2021 to 2023. So COVID has been good for LinkedIn. They've also seen a 27% increase in the content viewed, and there are 3 professionals joining every second. Whoa, right? We've become a truly global workplace, so people all over the world are joining. And I've linked an article there that will actually tell you a bit about some changes in algorithms that have happened that are in our favor. Hurrah, something in our favor for once. These algorithms will actually work in your favor when you're starting to do more posts and posting articles and things like that on LinkedIn. So you can check out that link if you want to read more. So it's even more imperative with 3 people joining that often, right? Every few seconds, you're going to need to be super clear who you are and what's the value you bring, because you've got to stand out in that sea of all of those people, all of those professionals, all vying for attention. So this guide has some simple free ways. We're going to jump right into it. It's about boosting your career opportunities without tarnishing your reputation, without coming across as cheesy. It's going to outline how to keep your profile top of mind, tip of tongue for people, the right people, without it taking too much time. Like, this is tiny tweaks. It's not going to take much time. It's probably going to take the same amount of time as it takes to watch this video, to listen to this audio, as it's going to take to make the little tweaks on your profile. So it's super simple. So here's some stats. For those of you who like to know, there's proof. LinkedIn is no longer just a repository of resumes, and only 1% of LinkedIn's users actively actually create content. So if you're a content creator, if you're someone who doesn't mind writing a little industry article now and then, or sharing your views, then you're going to stand out so easily. And 75% of leaders who use LinkedIn research people that they're hiring. So if you're applying for a promotion or looking to change agencies or move to another department, people are looking at you on LinkedIn to check you out. So why would you even bother? Well, do you want to find a new job? Maybe you even want to start a side hustle. Maybe you just want to build your personal brand. Maybe you want to get new team members and you want to build your brand as a leader who's worth working for, right? And to create a bit of a magnetic attractor for your team. Maybe you want to promote some of the great work that your team is doing. Maybe you want to establish yourself as a bit of a thought leader and be asked to contribute to industry articles, things like that. Maybe you want to join an association. And so it helps if you've got a little bit of profile before you go there. And maybe you want to get asked to speak at industry events or on panels and things like that, at conferences and all those sorts of things. You know, those are the people that get tapped on the shoulder and get asked, will you come and give your advice or opinion at this? Will you share, or will you be part of this industry forum? They're people who have a brand and a profile. Because if no one's ever heard of you and you keep doing that imposter syndrome and stuff and hiding away, no one's ever going to find you. And you're going to keep wondering, why do these other people get ahead? So let's dive in. 3 simple steps. I promise 3 simple steps to help you boost your profile. Step 1, keep it clear. Step 2, keep it concise. And step 3, use it to connect. So let's go through all 3. Clear. Clarity is everything. And when we're talking about an attention society where there's a deficit of our attention and so many things vying for it, then we must be super clear. So get clear first on your goals. Why do you want to use LinkedIn? Why now? What's going on in your career or life right now that you've gone, this is it, it's time? What's the next role or promotion that you want to achieve? And why are you frustrated about not getting there now? And what do you want to be known for? And this is super critical. And people go, I don't like thinking about that. And most leaders I work with, I was working with some yesterday and they're like, I've never thought about that before. Like, what words would people use to describe me? It's worth thinking about. And if you're not sure, go and ask your team, go and ask people or peers, how would you describe me? What words would you use? Really start to think about, you get this opportunity on LinkedIn to shape your perception of your brand. Also, get really clear to update your profile photo. You want to make a good first impression. We are all so visual now. Like, we all just hone in on the things that we like and we filter out everything that we don't. So you want to make sure that your profile photo is super professional and also positions you for the position you want next. So don't just think about a photo that shows you in the role you're in now. Maybe you want to position yourself a bit higher. Think future focus. So you'll see from this little heat map that when they do heat maps or eye retina scans of people actually looking at a screen or monitor and following around with a mouse, this is where their eye goes. So it lands on the photo, the profile photo of the person, and you can see the heat map suggests it spends a lot of time there before it zooms down, reads your title, zooms across and back down. But you can see not a lot of time spent down below. The heat map's all up here at the top. So this is your highest real estate. So here's some examples of some good profile photos that really suit some senior government role kind of positions, and kudos to those people who are actually, these are all real people. who have got great profile photos going on there. Nice, they're looking at a camera, they're giving eye contact, and you know that if you met them at a government industry event or a networking kind of thing, that you would recognize them from their profile photos. Really important to have one that's pretty up to date too. So don't post the photo of how you were looking good when you were 20 if you're now 50. So please use a recent profile photo so that you look like you do now. These are not good positioning photos. They're clearly from another event or something, or a wedding, or you can see where they've got an arm there and they've cut out the other person. They are not professional. So take the time to get a professional photo taken. It is so super easy to do that yourself with your own iPhone against a blank wall or something, or in front of your company's logo. Please take the time to take a good photo that's well lit. Also, you want to think about your personal brand as far as the banner goes. This is like the biggest real estate, and pretty much every government leader I see does not use it, right? They just don't use it. I don't know if it's that you think you're just representing the government, so you don't bother using it. But if you've got a profile page online, you're representing yourself first. So it should instantly tell you, who is this person? What are they about? What matters to them? What's their interest? What value do they bring? So you'll see these are all government leaders. No offense to any of them. They're all no doubt great professionals. And when you read some of their titles, they are directors and executive directors and people managers and specialists, but they have this banner that is the same. So you can see how you kind of get lost when you see that sea of sameness. These are better, right? They're visual. So they draw you in. Andrew's got sort of like a cityscape there, which tells me maybe he's Sydney based or something like that. I can see here that's actually the University of Newcastle. So I already get a feel that Roberta's from the uni. So we can see here, Liz has a nice representation here where she's wearing the red jacket and then she's also wearing it in the photo up there. So that's a great kind of anchoring. If she always wears red, then that's clearly her company brand. But you can see here, these are all good because they show the person in situ. Samantha here, Sam, has got a photo of her speaking with her name behind it. So it's showing she's of that value, that people actually have her speak and her name's on the screen on some kind of podium or stage. So you start to see they're getting positioned by their photo. So these are better. And these are even better than that because they tell you a bit about it. So you could either go for the visual that tells you the story, or you could go for words. Either way, you're winning, right? So these ones tell you what they do. You know, they give you some background on what they do. So I instantly know from looking at your banner, who do you help and how do you help them? Okay, step 2, are you ready? In my experience working for and with people in the government, let's just say they can be a little bit wordy. Have you noticed that? A little bit verbose, a little bit like jargonistic. And so step 2 is all about being concise. In reality, most things like newspapers and that are only written to a reading age of 11 to 13 at the most, because most people are just at that where I want to just scan and read quickly. I don't want to have to think and interpret when I'm reading something. I just want it bang to be clear and hit me. So get rid of all the jargons and things out of your bio and profile. Try to just make it in plain language where it's super clear and I can just grab and understand who you are really quickly. So when you're using big jargon, obtuse words, all of that, for me, that's an attention killer. Unless you're someone like Dr. Jason Fox, go and check him out, where he is known for being a wordsmith. And so the writing and the words on his page are very particular to him and are quite verbose, and it's delightful, right? Because it goes with his persona and brand. So unless you're someone like Dr. Jason Fox, and I'm guessing you're not, most government leaders are just starting to use government speak, and I do not recommend that. So keep it snappy, keep it short, but also keep it personal. A little bit friendly goes a long way. So think about your personal headline. And this is kind of the tagline or how you want to be thought about. Remember those words that you said, what do I want people to think about when they think about me and my brand? And so instead of just writing your title next to your name, start thinking about putting some results, or what's the value you bring, or what are you passionate about? Think about what I want to be known for above and beyond just a boring title. Okay, so a concise snapshot of who you are. You can also use what they call dividers to divide. So you can see here on Natasha's, she's just got an actual slash bar, which is the divider. So that's what I'd call more of a professional divider, where she's breaking the two kind of roles or things that she does. And here's a social divider. So it's using an emoji. It's a bit friendlier and more social. Either work because they do break up the text, make it easier to read. And you can see here, Richmond's got all of his different things that he does with a tick next to it, which again is kind of that reinforcing positive affirmation-y tick. And green, you know, in our minds means go. So, and it means yes. So he's kind of reinforcing, and he's using some of NLP techniques to make you go, yes, yes, this is the guy to pick, right? Clever. You can also be outstanding, right? Be yourself. So this is my profile, for example, and you can see it's a bit unusual because I'm wearing my Akubra, because I am someone who is known for blending the bush and the boardroom. I live in the bush. I work a lot in the boardroom. And so a lot of my brand and profile is a blend of wisdom from the bush brought into the boardroom, right? But the tip here is that just because you're government doesn't mean you have to follow rules. So just because it says put your name and title here, you can write whatever you want. So in the name section, I have AJ Alexandra Joy, and that I'm accredited in the AICD Company Directors Program, and that I'm also really passionate about servant eldership. So I actually have that all where it says name. And then when it comes down to title, I actually have that I'm a no BS proven leadership culture development strategist, you know, that I'm a speaker and a coach and consultant, but that I'll help you grow your leadership career without being a show off. So that's what I've got. I tell you lots about what I do in that real estate. What does yours say? I'm guessing it just says executive director, or it just says manager of policy. That's fine, but it doesn't tell me much about you and your personality. So I want to hear more about you. So showcase your experience, have the clear job title, but have a bit of a summary of some of your achievements. Make sure that when you have your bio below and your listing of all the jobs you've done, that you tag each employer correctly, each government agency or businesses that you've worked for, because then their logo will appear next to those roles. And remember, people are visual, so they'll be scanning through your profile. And when they see logos that they recognize, like the New South Wales government or the federal government, then they'll be like, oh, they've worked for them, they've worked for them. And so that can be really useful. And also think about the 2 or 3 skills that you really want to highlight for the next role that you want to get. So if strategic thinking is something that's going to be necessary in the next role, make sure that's kind of peppered through your profile. Lastly, in the About You section, now this is essentially your bio. What I see most people do is they just have their resume rehashed. And it's like, yawn, boring, 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 boring. It is usually just a shopping list, a rehash of my resume, and completely boring. So I say, don't just do that. Use it to highlight what's great, any awards you've won, what you've been recognized for. Did you manage a big initiative, a big road build, a community consultation? Have you changed the finance package that your organization used? And or have you done an IT program and a switchover that required all of these users having all of their data certified and checked and all moved across to another platform? I don't mind what it is, but tell people what you've done. Like, make it juicy. Don't just mean it's a resume rehash of in this role, I did this, this, and this, you know, or the stuff that was in your PD. That is boring and yawn worthy. And everyone else who's ever done that kind of role before could put the same stuff. So we need to know that it's uniquely about you. If you want some help with signing and writing that kind of bio, I have a really special matrix that I've developed over years of working with lots of leaders. And you can visit my website, and I can pop a link in below. If you just go to alexandrajoy.com.au/shop, you will see that you can purchase that, and it's super dirt cheap. And so you can go there and I will actually do a review for you, and I will write you some words that I think could boost your profile to be even more powerful and more personal. So you can check that out on my website. Step 3 is to connect. The whole purpose of LinkedIn is that everyone's there on the same platform. Otherwise, we'd all just have our own separate websites. And what would be the point of that? You're never going to get the level of traffic to a personal website or blog page as LinkedIn is going to get, with millions and millions of people on there. So, of course, the real value of it is that it's this connected platform, right? The average user on LinkedIn has only 930 connections, however, right? And the average government leader that I look at across the board are lucky to have 540. Some of them have like 10 or 12 people as connections. No offense, but you're leaving money on the table. You're leaving opportunity, right? Without being connected. Now, I'm not saying, and LinkedIn's very different. It usually just says 500 plus connections because they didn't want it to be a competitive thing like years ago where everyone was on Facebook and saying, I've got 5,000 friends now. So it's not like that. It's not a competitive reason, and there's no sweet spot or number. And every industry is different. I worked with a scientific tester that tested samples from a mine recently, and there's only so many people that have that kind of career or qualification, and it's quite a very specific field. However, there's lots of people in the mining industry, there's lots of people in engineering and all the sorts of things that they do. So they could still connect to people, but maybe they found that 500 is enough for them to have in connections in their industry. It's up to you to decide. But I do know that, when you've only got 10 or 12 connections, that's something that an employer also will look at and go, oh, you're not really using this profile to the best of its ability. So an opportunity to increase the number of people who know what you do and know who you are, especially if you're going to use your profile then to post any articles, to like, comment, share on anything, because the more connections you have, the more eyeballs that are going to see it, right? So make use of your time wisely, I say. And first, think about, if you're going on the platform, it's not about just randomly collecting friends. First, be a giver. Give, and then you'll get. Give to other colleagues first. Give them recommendations. Like their content. Comment on their articles. Tell them when they've got something going on that's great, that you enjoyed their article. Maybe they're sharing an event that they're running. Share it to your network. They've got a job or a position vacancy. Share it to your network. Be a giver. Be kind and generous in the way that you participate on the platform first. And then don't be shy, right? Don't do this, who am I to reach out? Who am I to ask? Who am I to whatever? Get in touch with people in your industry. Maybe there's someone you've admired from afar for ages. Maybe there's someone who you read in an industry magazine. I know I recently read a board member that was talked about in an Australian Institute of Company Directors magazine, and I reached out to them on LinkedIn because I loved what they wrote in the article. I liked some of their content. I thought it was really refreshing and a fresh perspective. And so I asked to connect on LinkedIn, and I told them what I thought of their article and how great it was. And of course, they accepted, they appreciated my feedback, and we struck up a bit of a conversation back and forth a couple of times about just the nature of the industry and where things were going, right? Now, if I meet that person at an industry event, I'm more likely to feel like I can walk up and talk to them, more likely to get a response, and they'll remember me from that interaction. Okay, so use it to get in touch, find people in your industry, especially in government as well. One of the great ways you can do it is to get in touch with other people in other government departments, say in other states or regions, and say, what are you doing with this? We're about to launch this initiative. I'd love some ideas for how we could improve the way we measure or test or do something. So use it as a network internally with other people in your department via LinkedIn. It's just the easiest platform to do that. So remember, the world has changed, and especially since COVID, people are okay with you reaching out so long as it's genuine. So like I said, be a giver. Don't be slimy. Don't be like, friend me and then ask for a promotion, right? It just doesn't work. You know what it's like if people message you and say, hey, I want to be your friend, and then instantly try and sell you something. It's yucky. It's spammy. don't do it. But having said that, don't be shy. And so give yourself a little bit of a challenge. And I say, even if you just did this, say for a month, reach out to 5 people a week for 1 month and just notice what happens to your profile. How do you feel about talking about what you do? Notice how interesting it is to find out more about other people. Like, the more I connect with people, the more I get to know what are people's challenges, what do they need to know in the industry. I developed this that you're reading or listening to or watching specifically because through the interactions I'd had with people on LinkedIn and looking at government profiles, I realized we have a problem. A lot of these people aren't using the platform to the best of its ability. So that's why I developed this, because I saw a need from the interactions I'd had with people. So share your posts with people. If you've written an article on something that you think, or a post that might be of interest to someone in your industry, send it to them. Connect, just be genuine. So do these 3 simple steps, and I bet you're going to see some changes on your profile, in your confidence, in your presence, and it doesn't look sucky or unprofessional. I say go for it. I think you'll notice a real difference. I think you'll be glad that you did. And if you're looking for any next steps or some other help, then I also offer this personalized LinkedIn profile positioning review. Again, you can go to my website, alexandrajoy.com.au/shop. And that positioning review is the price of a few coffees. It's not expensive. And I will personally go and check you out, have a look at your profile, and give you a little written report on how you could improve. So what have you got to lose, right? And lastly, don't be shy. Here we are on LinkedIn platform. Please reach out and say hi. I would love to connect with you. My LinkedIn is below. Come and say g'day, and let me know if any of these tips have been helpful for you. Thanks so much for tuning in. I look forward to connecting with you and seeing your LinkedIn profile expand and improve, and that you start to get recognized in the industry for the great leader that you are and that you've become. Thanks very much.